Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and I have Pedro here, talking about his new game, Demon Ninja. How you doing, Pedro?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing good. We had a little bit of a Zoom issue with this, but we got it taken care of. So you have a new game that's on
Mhm.
Kickstarter right now, and it's already got its funding, and we're trying to get that first um, stretch goal. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So just so y'all know, everybody, Pedro is from Portugal, and so.
Mhm.
Pedro, what tell people what is the role playing scene like in Portugal? Because I have been approached by a lot of people from Portugal, even with my own game,
Mhm.
with the Red Room as well. So tell us a little bit about role playing, maybe the history of what was popular, how
Mhm.
difficult it is maybe to play, and maybe kind of
Mhm.
your background of role playing, what how you started, uh, and things like that.
Yeah, sure. First, thank you for having me.
No
Hi to
problem.
everybody watching. So
Glad to
here's
have you.
my story with role-playing games. Actually, while I'm on Portugal, I live in an island, an autonomous region of Portugal. So I'm not connected to the mainland by land, only by sea.
Oh
So
wow.
this makes a significant difference because on the mainland, the role-playing game scene is much wider. You know, you have many more people, role-playing, and you have places to go where they role-play too. You know, board games, role-playing games, essentially the tabletop gaming scene. It's much wider, obviously, in the mainland than on a small island. I go to the mainland lots of times, but it makes a certain difference. You can find it's easier to find players and game masters, and generally, communities around built around tabletop gaming in the mainland than on the islands. With that being said, there are role playing games and a role playing gaming scene, let's say, on the island, which I've been a part of for many years. I started gaming maybe 25 years ago, so quite a long
Wow.
time ago. And I actually started because of an American person. Because on the islands there's an American base, American air base, and so I believe. I mean, the role playing, the Dungeons and Dragons thing, and the role playing gaming thing probably came from interacting with military, U.S. military, because they probably brought the game or brought the concept to the islands, and then it spread just by interaction, by gaming together. So that was my experience. I started with Dungeons and Dragons back in the day. That was my first experience. You know, the red box, I guess it's called.
Okay.
Somebody brought that over, and we tried. So there was me and a lot of friends. We all loved it. We played together for many years. But then, you know, that initial group of 5 to 6 people, they drifted away to other stuff. But I stuck with it. I kept gaming and built new groups and tried to get more people role playing, and I had some success, and I got the chance to keep a tight role playing group on the island for many years. And some people come in, other people can go away to study or to work, but we managed to keep a small role playing game group. But then what happened is I went abroad too and lived on the mainland for several years, and I met a lot of people on the role playing gaming scene. I started several groups, gaming groups of people in on mainland Portugal, and I got to know a lot of people in Portugal that were into this role playing gaming stuff, but it just so happens that I was from the very beginning. I never did much role playing myself. I was cursed with a forever GM curse.
I
So I've been
understand. Yeah.
yeah, gosh, I've been a game master for I don't know how long. But so that thing of constantly being the game master and constantly being the game master over and over and over again, I guess develop my appetite or a few skills that are needed to start building my own material or creating my own stuff, right? So by designing my own modules or my own adventures, what we call homebrew or something like that. I got deeper into the role playing gaming stuff. Then I started, connecting with lots of people all over the world, and started really enjoying the process of creating new material. And it was a matter of time, a long time, but it was a matter of time before me and a friend of mine, we developed our own dice rolling system, our own system, back in 2015. And with our own proprietary system, then we started developing more and more material. And Demon Ninja comes, in that chain of events, right? We developed our first role-playing game in 2015, and it already had a drop one system, but the older version. And then a few years later, I started working on a game about special forces with a traumatic military experience. That's the theme of the game. Looking for redemption, but having to do some hard stuff too. So I started working on that, even though when I did start, it wasn't about ninja at all. Ninja wasn't even on my radar. I was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
develop, I was trying to develop a game about special forces with a traumatic experience. What nowadays a therapist could call PTSD or something like that. Things on that realm of of knowledge, but that was ninja wasn't even on my radar. So the idea of Demon Ninja, the theme, the setting of Demon Ninja comes even later. I was already working on the concept of a role-playing game about special forces trying to reach redemption from stuff in their past, and then I discovered something that guided me guided me through the ninja, shinobi, ninja theme. That's basically in a very short in a short amount of words my journey. Let's say. I'm sorry, English is not my mother language,
No,
but I'm trying
I
my best. Okay.
I think your English is good. The I'll say this. So for people that don't know, I might have a course. People want to check out the Kickstarter, please do. I'll have a link down in the description. I'll have a pinned comment. You can go check out this game. And I like ninjas. I got Tenshu shirt. I said I got to wear my Tenshu shirt.
Yeah.
I like ninjas from way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I like playing Legend of the Five Rings, the card game. I played the
Mm-hmm.
role-playing game, a little bit of touch there of ninjas.
Yep.
It's always been, something that's just always great. It's in the shadows, once again, it's that main theme of going against kind of the laws of the land to
Yeah.
enact revenge or, take down some terrible foe or enemy or villain or whatever. And of course, having some sort of fantasy element to it is always going to be good. That's like Legend of Five Rings. That's one of the things that drew me to it. I'll say this about the book. So, you've got your the Kickstarter page, and obviously you like ninjas since you made a game about ninjas. I would take it. Um, the art is the first thing for me that really popped. I was like, whoa, this art is great. I mean, it's exactly what I would want to see in a game like this. So, what, who are your artists? Like, how did you find your artists? Because
Yes.
art's a big thing right now with AI art and stuff like
Yeah.
that. The
Yeah, I
art
know.
to me, it's of a caliber of some of it is like of Lone Wolf and Cub, which I read a lot of. I love the movies. So a lot of ninjas in that, a lot of cool stuff that I don't know if that was something that you knew, that you're aware of Lone Wolf and Cub, you've read, or it was
Yeah,
influenced by that.
absolutely. I've read it many times. Yes.
Well, I could definitely feel it in the art, and it is a mature game. There are some graphic
Yeah.
pieces of art, so those out there that want to check it out know that. A little bit of nudity, a lot of beheadings and stuff like that. It is a violent game. Now, here's a question for you, because I'm gonna kind of be jumping some stuff here and there to shoot off some
Sure.
things to you. So to me,
Sure.
it feels like there's a slight bit, and I might be wrong, of some White Wolf influence in the system or just the
Mm-hmm.
game in itself. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. I would say in the setting, yes. In the system, not really, but in the setting, yes, very much true. Because after my initial contact with role-playing games through Dungeons and Dragons, I played Vampire the Masquerade for many years. So that's next to impossible that that's not in me in some way. Just
Definitely.
it's a big influence on
Sure. Sure.
On the way that I know in my Dark Japan, my vision of Dark Japan, there's something from White Wolf books there too.
Sure. Sure. It has a
Although
lot
it's
of
built,
influence.
yeah, the mythos of the game is built around Lovecraft. It works, but if you ask me, the aesthetics of the game, I would say, yeah, 90s horror scene. So you have White Wolf
Right.
clearly there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can definitely feel it in it. Because you have like your different clans.
yeah,
That obviously is very much like something White Wolf do. Even your write-ups for the clans kind of have that breakdown of what they're all
yeah, yeah.
about. So in a tell people exactly what's going on in Demon Ninja. So it is a dark
Ooh,
version. I know there's a lot to it, but if you could kind of sum it up,
yeah,
however you
yeah,
can,
yeah.
what would
Okay.
you say that is?
So you're talking just the setting, right? No
Yeah,
mechanics.
yeah, like
Okay,
what you're doing, what you're up against, and what's
okay.
happening.
So this is yeah. Well, this is the deal. And there's no heroes in Demon Ninja. Okay, if somebody's looking for an epic game, like two samurais dueling under a sunset in a hill, that's more, Legend of the Five Rings or Alley or some other game. This is not an epic game about heroes. There's
Right,
nothing
right,
that's not what game is about. Okay, game is about real people with real problems. They're not heroes in the sense that every single character that you can build in Demon Ninja comes into the game with what we call darkness. So, or phalanx, depends. That's the technical name, but it comes into the game with the darkness pool, and you already have darkness. It's impossible by the rules of character creation to start with zero darkness. That's simply impossible. So you bring, you know, some guilt, there's some things in your past that you've done that you're not particularly proud of, even if you believe that it was the only, choice at the time. But that's something that every Demon Ninja character, every character that you can build with this game is haunted, by a military past, a brutal, violent military past that he had, things he had to do in the past that he's looking to get off his chest, release himself from that. Okay, but not in just a philosophical or psychological way. This is where the problem with Demon Ninja starts, because the darkness. This is the deal. Let me just go back a moment to create a logical sequence of events. The thing is, Japan at a given moment in history, Japan was a country at war. You have powerful warlords, and they're in constant conflict and vying for power. And the emperor, the imperial house, has fallen, and the emperor does no longer command the power to smash these rebellions and get the country back in order. Right, the imperial house can no longer do that, so the warlords sense that the weakness of the imperial house, and they use their army, their samurai, their shinobi, and other resources to vie for power. And usually, the warlord that manages to submit all of his, enemy warlords becomes the shogun. Of course, the imperial house, if not to be destroyed totally, has to allow the shogun to rule. It becomes a silent agreement, right? Because the imperial house has the people and the nobility, the right to rule Japan, because it descends from the gods that created the country. But the shogun has the power of weapons and armies. So they meet somewhere in the middle, and right, the emperor has to allow the shogun to rule. But the problem is that these shogunates, some of them got really violent and wreaked havoc in Japan and broke the people under brutal taxes and violence. And a revolutionary and a visionary emperor one day tried to liberate Japan from all of this. But his predecessor had failed before, and he failed as well. His rebellion failed to restore the civil rule of Japan because he was defeated by the shogunate, and he came to a conclusion that he needed an advantage to be able to implement his revolution successfully. So that's when the Demon Ninja story starts, because he is visited by an envoyee, a messenger, a diplomat from a strange, mysterious force that there's not even art in the book about this force. I forbade all the artists from drawing this. I don't want them to draw because as soon as it gets its form, it's less scary
Yeah, I
because
like
now
that.
it's more well known. So this is a formless, shapeless, mysterious, cosmic, mysterious force, like in the sense of Lovecraft. You
Right.
see, of course, I don't know if people know Lovecraft. It's not usually associated with Eastern themes, but now we have to put it here to understand him, truly understand him, Ninja. So this envoyee visits the broken emperor that failed to restore the civil rule of the country, and proposes an alliance, offers an alliance to him. This mysterious force would help him succeed in a military revolution, smash and destroy the Kamakura shogunate, and in return, he would give, he would cut out some part of Japan and give it to this mysterious force to rule. So this force would rule roughly half of Japan, a little less, but roughly half of Japan. In exchange, the mysterious force would assist, the dark forces would assist him in winning over the shogun. Because he's failed and he sees no other choice to, release the country from these demons, these devilish shogunates, these warlords, he accepts. And with the help, look, I'm shortening the history part,
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Just with the
Oh yeah,
help
it's got
of
a lot
this
of history.
with the help of this dark force, he is able to turn the table on the battlefield, and he succeeds in his rebellion against the shogunate. So he defeats the shogunate and restores the civil rule of Japan. It was supposed to be a success story. But then something bad happens. Because the war lasted for several years, okay? And the assistance that this mysterious force gave the emperor was not, burning boulders raining from the sky or magic. There's nothing about it. What actually happened is, once the treaty was signed in blood between the emperor and the envoy from this mysterious dark force, it was signed on planet Earth, on Japan, in blood. Once this was done, what the dark force did, the so-called phalanx did, was it took the emperor's best 6 samurai, the best samurai he had in his forces. The dark powers took them and returned them as demons. So as creatures wielding a demonic techniques, demonic ninja techniques, okay? And these 6 demons were the secret weapons of the emperor to overthrow the shogunate, because they were like special forces. They did subversive operations and assassination operations and rescuing, large garrisons of samurai that were trapped in the battlefield, or just disposing of high-ranking enemy personnel. This kind of operation, this was what turned the tides in emperor's favor. So he won. But the war lasted several years, and these 6 creatures that were once his 6 best samurai, as the war lasted, they became so violent that their demonic side took over. And by the end of the war, they were truly demons. They were devilish people, devilish creatures, cruel beyond measure. They were ruthless, right? This was 6 ruthless creatures. And so when the time came for the emperor to deliver on the pact that was made with the dark force, the emperor was left in a dilemma, right? The young emperor, he was quite young at the time, because yes, he did this pact to release the country from the rule of devils, but figuratively devils, like in the shoguns and the warlords. Now, even though he succeeded, now he would have to you have to hand out half of the country to true devils, right? To real demons. So this didn't make any sense, because he fought so hard, to get rid of the demons, and now we would have to deliver half the country to even worse demons, even more violent than the warlords, much more savage than any warlord. Okay, so he was left in this invincible dilemma, and eventually, after much meditation, he decided to break the pact. That was the only solution. Because if he handed out half the country to the demons, then everything was a failure. Then he did even worse to the people.
Right.
You know, he had this tragic experience of wanting to do good, but risking ending up doing evil. So he wasn't capable of, you know, fulfilling his part of the pact with Phalanx, and he broke the pact. Once he broke the pact, nothing happened. You know, nothing fell from the sky. Nothing. You know, major supernatural happened. And he was pleased by that. He thought that he could get away with it. So what happened was Phalanx removed itself from planet Earth, from Japan. It went away from the imperial house. You no longer felt the presence and influence of Phalanx. The envoyee, the envoyee never visited him again after the breaking of the pact. But soon he would learn the real problem. The problem is his former 6 samurai, these 6 creatures, which are the original demon ninja. Now connecting with your question, these 6 creatures, he soon discovered that they were no longer loyal to him because he was the emperor. There was no Bushido left in him. They were only under his control because of Phalanx. Once Phalanx removed itself from the picture, they were out of control. By definition, you lost control over the 6 demon ninja, right? So when you lost control over the demon ninja, they went astray. They started wreaking havoc on the country. Some of them, 2 of them to be more precise, but some of them stayed by him. Because even though they were now half demons and half embraced by the dark powers, their Bushido was stronger than that. And they stood by the emperor, the imperial house. But the others didn't, right? Some of the others never forgave the emperor for not fulfilling his end of the deal, right? They were and are now obsessed with the broken pact, the fact that the pact was broken. So if the pact was broken, then everything's gone. They no longer are under any obligation to serve the imperial house. So they started to serve the shoguns, the warlords. And there was even a remnant of the first 6 heads of Watanabe, the first 6 demon ninja, that believed that the solution to Japan was no longer emperors or shoguns. They believe that the pact must be fulfilled, and now they will rule Japan themselves with no intermediaries, from the shadows, of course, because the people would not accept demons as rulers. But they will, you know, control the legitimate rulers of Japan from the shadows, and they will rule, regardless of emperors or shoguns. And this is a terrorist faction. This is a fanatical cult that believes that because the pact was broken, they have the legitimate right to rule now the half of the country that was promised to Phalanx. You see, this is a complex web of thought. Yeah. So after this phenomenon, those that did not stood by the emperor started to build power for themselves, you know, so they can serve the shoguns because they believe only ruthless military power was able to restore the order in the country. Or they started building power for themselves for themselves to rule. So the way they did this was to start training more people in the ninja arts, in the demonic ninja arts. What they wanted to do was build armies of ninja armies, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the origins of the demon clans, you know? When you start the game, your demon clan was necessarily founded by one of these remotely, right? You never seen or heard anything of this, because when players start the game, this is centuries ago. There's a long time ago, right? They have no idea of this. Not every ninja character knows all of this history. No, he's just, yes, he's an heir of this chain of events, but he doesn't know it. His history is much different. It was somebody that was recruited in a strange manner, because he had a natural special talent that could be perfected into ninja techniques, and he was recruited by one of the demon clans, sometimes violently, sometimes abducted, sometimes tortured, because demon ninja training is a mixture of torture and training. Really, they're training in a ratio of 1,000 to 1. So those who do not succeed in training, they don't get to return to their lives. They're executed because they're now witnesses. This is a very secretive web of ninja and spies and assassins and organizations, okay? So what these rebel demon ninjas, these rebel founders of the demon clans did was start to train more ninja in their arts and their approach to the demon technique, right? So that's the origins of the demon clans. And when players start the game, they necessarily have to choose one of the demon clans. So they will enter the game as an heir of this chain of events. But what happens? What's the problem with Demon Ninja? That this might be hard to find in other games, because this is, as far as I know, I don't know every game, but as far as I know, this is the distinctive trait with your characters. What happens is the darkness, the guilt because of the dark past that I told you about is not just philosophical. It's more than that. It's integrated into the game mechanics. What happens is this. Yes, your characters are demon ninjas. Basically, most of them had samurai background, because the problem with explaining this, sometimes I have experienced some problems explaining this, is because people generally, even backers and people, bring the conceptions about ninja from pop culture.
Right.
Okay, but Demon Ninja has its own lore. So when you're talking about shinobi or in Demon Ninja terms, we're not talking about people dressing in black and throwing pointy stars around. That's not what this game is about.
Right. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking more about like supernatural 007s, but with a dark past. 007 was kind of a hero, a funny hero, but no, in Demon Ninja, these are really tough guys. These are, what we would call Green Berets,
right,
with supernatural commando techniques. Okay, but they're not, they're not funny at all. The Demon Ninja doesn't have much of a comic relief or something like that. If that's what people are looking for, they're not going to find it. They'll be disappointed. Demon Ninja is
it's a serious dark world.
Yeah, it's a very dark, tense experience. So, as I was saying, I'm trying to answer your question in a complete manner, but it's hard. But as I was saying, Demon Ninja has its own ninja lore. So to be a ninja, Demon Ninja is not. You're not born as a demon ninja, and you're not special. That's not what it is. You have a background in Japan. You could be, a butcher, a samurai, a fisherman, right. Anything, right? You could be, a bodyguard. You could be an executioner. You can come from, a lot of backgrounds, and you're recruited by these demon clans, and then you are subject to demon ninja training, which is a mixture of witchcraft and martial arts. Not martial arts in the traditional sense. Many people that look at the cover of the book think this is a book about, kicks and punches, but that's not. Yes, there is that, but that's not the main focus of the game. That's not enough to solve the problems you will encounter, during your game sessions. So what happens is, to be a demon ninja is to have a special training. It's not to have magical powers, being born into something, having a natural gift. No, you were just recruited by a demon clan, and through witchcraft and martial arts, you were turned into a half demon. That's what it is, okay? And as you come into the game, you bring that demonic side with you. And here's the distinctive thing about Demon Ninja that makes the role playing, so I hope, interesting, but also hard. When you use your techniques, and you do have quite a few of them, when you channel your demon ki and use a demon technique, either your high technique or one of your low techniques, because there are those, or when you perform a hijutsu jump, which is something else, when you do these things, okay, that's good, but you gain darkness. This is the distinctive trait of Demon Ninja. Imagine a role-playing game that when you use your powers, to get things done in the game, to oppose the challenges that are thrown at you, you degenerate. Your character degenerates with each use that you make of these powers. And I'm not talking about, dark pimples on your skin or growing horns like Hellboy. No. Nobody sees that. You understand? There's no outer signs. You need to be a special commander with a specialty. One of the 5 specialties to be able to spot darkness in other soldiers and other agents. So every time you make use of your demon techniques, which you need to to fight these antagonists, and even to do other things that the game requires. Of course, you need to use your powers. That's why they're there for. But the problem is the remote origin of your power is demonic. Remember all the history that I told you. You're the right. You're in a certain sense. You are also part of Phalanx. You know,
Right.
a part of you originates from, a part of your soul is tied to that darkness, you know.
Yeah.
So every time you use that darkness to get something done, even if you're doing good, that's the problem with Demon Ninja. Even if, let's say you're gonna use, let's forget murder hobo, right,
Yeah.
mode. Let's just say you're using your techniques to something that the game requires, or that you believe is adequate for your character, or something good, right? But that doesn't matter. Even if you're doing something good, if you're using your techniques or channeling your demon key, you're making a concession to evil, because the remote origins of that are evil, and you need to let that take over you for a moment to be able to, you know, show your skill, you know, use the technique. So every time you do that, at the end of the scene, you have to add a darkness point to your character sheet. Okay? But here's what happens with this. Once you hit the ceiling of the right, once you have all the darkness, you have taken all the darkness points that you could take. If you take one more, your character doesn't die. Okay, this is another distinctive trait of Demon Ninja. That's not the death of your character. If your character, you know, it could be just another way to lose your character, right? To madness or something.
Right.
There are role playing games like Call of Cthulhu. You lose your sanity.
Yeah.
Even in Vampire, in a sense, you know, the humanity, you
Yeah.
have something like that. Yes, but no. But in Demon Ninja, that's not it. When you hit that ceiling and you go over the top, even one extra point of darkness over what you could take, you don't go crazy, or or you don't just lose your character. You turn into the apex antagonist of the game.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is not just losing your character. If you lose your character, you just make another character, right? But no, but this, no, but listen, this is when you do that, you turn into the apex antagonist of the game, which is an Oni, which not many teams of characters can take on, especially undeveloped, still beginner level. Even experienced level will be hard, because combat in Demon Ninja is very lethal. So, and when you turn into that, yes, it can explode into you and you turn into an Oni, but the Oni in Demon Ninja, their specialty is Hana Wokaku, which is face skinning. They're face collectors, they're doppelgangers. They collect the face from their victims and they can absorb them and turn into them. So you can turn into the apex antagonist of the game silently, because it can take over the former character's face immediately. So there's no explosion. The party doesn't even know that they're
Wow.
walking with the demon now. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's a really great little twist to the thing that we haven't really seen. You know, everything else is kind of like, oh, you just make a new character, you went crazy or something like
Oh
that.
no,
So
no. I can
I
tell you
like
that
that.
in playtesting, several catastrophes happened, because when people start playing Demon Ninja, they bring the conception that they can do whatever they want, right? And
Right.
they start, of course, and that's true. They start, you know, erasing Demon Key and using techniques left and right. But the problem is, in a few games, in a few scenes, they have exhausted their darkness and they're turning into Onis and killing everybody else. So this is the situation. You can and should use your powers, but every time you do, because your powers are demonic or devilish in nature, they're the dark part of your story, of your soul, you add darkness to your character sheet. Once you hit that ceiling of dark, once you can't take no more, if you use if you use a technique again, if you channel your demon key again, not only do you lose your character, but you place the apex antagonist of the game walking alongside with your party in your place, in your body, and he will try to dispose of the entire ninja team very quickly.
I like
Okay,
that.
so
I like that a lot. It's
so
kind of neat. It's bad. It's kind of you're inviting in like your powers, but you're also, if you use them too
yeah,
much and don't try to reduce those,
yeah.
you will. you're gonna and I like how you don't no one knows, But
No, no, yeah.
do you have to like hide your sheet? Because I mean, you can see your buddy's sheet and be like, "Uh-oh, he's getting close."
In more advanced products, we have a source book coming, Player Scroll. We have a source book coming, and there's a lot of techniques for the game master to make the situations happen in a funny way. I can share one with you.
Okay,
Um, for example, it happens, and during playtesting, that this happened. The player, he went too far too quick, and he turned into a demon. And then everybody started looking at. I was a game master for the evening, so everybody would start looking at me because they know what we have talked about the game. They have played for 5 or 6 times. They know what's up with darkness. So everybody was expecting something. You see, right? I have to describe, a demon now or something like that. But I didn't. I just said, look, keep role playing. Nothing happens. You're lucky, and it just did. But it did happen. I was just borrowing him without him knowing to role play as if nothing happened to the, and he did to the best of his ability because he thought it was okay,
gotcha.
but it wasn't. So he got to role play the rest of the game session with no problems because it wasn't my plan as an Oni to rough up anybody. It was much more mischievous, much more devilish in mind than that.
Right.
Yes, the party eventually perished, but
Yeah, you
not
took
not
care of
in
him.
yeah, but not in combat. You
Gotcha.
wouldn't do that. There was several people. So what happened? So this is the game that you have in your hands. Every time you use your powers, like in the other games, okay, you can use your powers like in any role-playing game, any power you have, fighting or magical or whatever. But the problem is, every time you use your powers, you're degenerating your character.
Right.
Okay, and the consequence is not just to you. If it was just to you, I'll make another character. Okay, okay, no need to be sad. But that's not the case. You can destroy everything and everyone at the game table. So this generates a different psychological relationship between the characters and sometimes even the players, because you see, they know that this can happen.
Right.
They know that even if they keep their darkness in check, they know that if somebody else doesn't, that will affect them.
Right.
You
They
see,
need to they
and
need to check their buddies
yeah,
and make
but
sure they
this
don't go too
changes
far.
things. Exactly. This changes things completely. The psychology of the thing, because now it's not just about your character. Sure, you can't tell anybody what to do, but the thing is, we're all in the same boat here, right? We know we are all off demons with a mission to accomplish, and that's the delicate balance that is hard to do. That is that's what Demon Ninja offers you. You need to accomplish the mission, but at the same time, you have these ghosts, these demons from your past that are not just philosophical, right? That's the thing. This is not just a scene in a movie where the guy, is looking at the city, smoking a cigar, and thinking about things past. No, 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 no. If you go over the top, then this is dynamite. So every player, in essence, is a demonic time bomb. Is a
Right.
ticking time bomb,
Right.
and he needs to accomplish the mission, but also not explode on the team, right?
Right.
And many times, so some teams adapt to this and they start caring for each other, right? You have players that say, look, rest your techniques for a while, man. I don't know. I think you need some rest. I'll pick up, I'll do it. I'll use mine. I can, I need you to rest now. And some other teams, depending on the personalities, they just chastise the
Yeah.
players. Or what are you doing? Why did you use that technique? That was stupid, and they argue about it. Why you took a darkness point for nothing? You should never have done that. And
Right.
now we have to worry. You're at 9 darkness. What's going to happen? You see, so sometimes players say, "Oh, but that's okay. I'll just refrain. I'll just refrain from using
Right.
darkness for a game session or two, and I'll try to help somebody to reduce my darkness." Okay. But then what happens is the game master is there in the next session. It comes, he throws he throws an encounter or something at them, and they're in a tough situation because now they don't want to touch their powers, but they had to fight a demon with full use of his powers. So this creates complex situations, not just combat situations, but also complex decisions.
The
Okay.
dynamic of the
Yeah.
group. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other part of this, the mirror side of this, is okay. If somebody is listening to this, they might think, well, but this is a nihilistic game, right? You
Yeah.
can't. If you use, then you gain darkness. If you don't, then you don't achieve anything.
Yeah.
So
It's a
what's the
downward
point?
slope. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's not. Here's the deal. There's okay. I've up until now, I've only talked about ways to, unfortunately, add darkness to your character sheet and ending up losing your character or worse, right? So, but there's also ways to get rid of darkness, to lower your burden of darkness on your character. You can also do that. But how do you do that? Well, you have to, in a sense, undo the things that brought you darkness in the first place. So, first of all, you have to refrain, you have to renounce to your ninjutsu, to your ninja arts, right? But not only that, you have to bring your darkness down. How do you do that? Through Hutari. Hutari is it's like a Japanese concept for you, like serendipity, like a moment of
Clarity.
enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even just a moment of peace, of
Mm.
inner peace, in the midst of a bloody carnage war where they are role playing at the moment in Japan. This is Hutari, and this brings your darkness down when you achieve this. But how do you achieve this? Well, there's two ways to lower your darkness. One is a peaceful way, and the other one is a not so peaceful way, because you can lower your darkness in a not so peaceful way. You don't have to be a monk to bring your darkness down, okay? You can do it in two ways. You can either help the people, because in the game, all players are commando agents trying to save their homeland from a dark plague, which I will discuss after this part. What is the dark plague? Because this is the grand theme of the game sessions of the game. So players are trying to save their homelands, and because of their darkness and because of the harsh nature of their job, sometimes they have to treat people poorly. They can't be all nice to everybody. That's not how it works, unfortunately. But they are basically dedicated to save the people, even though the people don't know it, because they belong to secret organizations. It's their organizations, the covenants to which they belong, not the demon clans. That's where they are trained. But
Right.
the large-scale political organizations of ninjas and spies and assassins to which they belong, these organizations have their own agenda in the Shadow War. These would be something like the CIA. It's like
They're factions.
intelligent, yeah, intelligence organization, spy organization, right? With
Mhm.
ranks and rules and regulations, but also modus
Agendas.
operandi. Yeah, agendas, political agendas in the Shadow War. They all there's the demon clans, which that's their training history, but there's also large scale political factions, which I call the covenants. Okay, so the thing is, to achieve Utari and lower your darkness, you either have to help the people, like save hosts, and I have to explain what hosts are in a short few minutes, because that's a fundamental part of the game. But you can either save the hosts or help the people, or you can hunt demons. There are two ways of lowering your darkness. The more you lower your darkness, the more that you can use your technique safely. Okay, because you have your darkness under control. You're still subject to crippling nightmares. Sometimes you have a crippling nightmare, and your character is under penalties for an entire day because he had a crippling nightmare during the night. The more you have the darkness, the more you're subject to this. There's no physical signs, but sometimes he has crippling nightmares. Okay, that only he knows about, and unless he chooses to share what's going on with someone else. Okay, but you can do this you can do this in two ways. You can either help the people, or when I say the people, I say civilians. Helping your demon ninja companions doesn't count, because in demon ninja they're no longer, they're demons, they're half demons, so that doesn't count. Because when you're helping one of your companions, you might be doing that because you like them or for loyalty. But remember, you're helping a half human part and a half demon part
Right.
of him, because he's both,
Right.
right? So that doesn't count. You need to help civilians, non-military, non-commando civilians, or you need to hunt demons, because when you destroy a demon, that's a drop of darkness that is erased from the world. And so, because the darkness is all the same and is in you and in everybody that partakes in it, once you take a drop from the ocean, you too lose some, right?
Right.
So when you destroy a demon, you erase darkness from your character sheet. Not to talk about the experience points, of course, that you also gain experience points from helping hosts and civilians and hunting demons. You gain them in different ways, because in Demon Ninja there are two types of experience points, not just one. But that's how that goes. Now I would like to talk about hosts, because this was the second part of the, let's say, punishment that Phalanx, made descend upon the nation, upon the emperor, when he broke the pact. Well, what happens was this: on one side, yes, he lost control of his 6 demons, and the demon clan started. And now we have ninja wars and brutal ninja wars everywhere, because they train more ninjas, including your characters. And now the characters are, partaking in different organizations. Some organizations like Kumo think that the host should essentially be burned and cleanse the land from the dark plague. Other more humane organizations like Sakata think that no, the hosts need help. They're civilians. They're sick civilians. They're not enemies. So we need to help them. So they created a specialty, which is a ninja surgeon, kind of like a ninja surgeon remover, which is called the remover, to help these people. And some factions don't care at all, and they use the hosts as weapons, so they can, fill a ship with hosts and moor the ship in an enemy port or enemy lands, and let the hosts, let them loose, so they can infect everybody and spread the dark. They have devilish plans.
Right.
Like they use darkness as a weapon, not as a curse. Of course, they are constantly losing characters to darkness and turning into Onis, but that's a consequence of their fanatical belief in using darkness as a weapon, right?
Right.
Okay, but besides this, what the game master will be constantly describing to players during Demon Ninja sessions, and what players will be constantly running into, is hosts. This we have to understand. This is the main experience of the game. The game does not work without this. We need to understand this. So what is a host? Well, besides losing control over the 6 original Demon Ninja and unleashing, therefore, the traditions of ninja training that turned out to be ninja wars and large-scale ninja organizations with these agendas, there was also a second part of the punishment that darkness descended upon the emperor for breaking the pact, which is the demon plague. What is the demon plague? Well, a few years after the breaking of the pact, this is historical knowledge. Right now, when the players enter the game, it's everywhere. The demon plague is everywhere, but it started slowly. A few years after the breaking of the pact, in historical terms, many healers and many people started to give notice of a new disease that was appearing, that was spreading, an epidemic that was spreading among the populations. But it's not an epidemic like any other. What happens is this: people started to appear with weird psychological and physical symptoms, and they had tentacles, like black tentacles growing inside them. And they spew them to their mouth and enter the mouth of other people by force and infect them too. So it's a brutal thing.
Yeah.
The game master has his work cut out for him to describe these situations.
Right.
Okay?
Real nasty stuff.
Real nasty stuff. Absolutely. Very nasty. So we're talking about a large-scale epidemic of tentacle parasites. Okay, you have art in the book to better illustrate this, so that you can,
I'll show that.
Yeah, you can visualize this in a very direct manner. But this is what happens. This epidemic spreads. It's not like it's not airborne, right? Or it's not like from contaminated food or something. No, it's not foodborne or airborne. No, the way that this epidemic spreads is by contact, right? So these tentacles end up accessing the host's mind and using him to get close to other people, and then they lash out, right? They attack and enter the mouth of the victim, and they secrete a demon bile that turns them into a host. In a few days, it will start developing those tentacles too. It's horrific, and it generates both psychological and physical symptoms that can be interpreted if the character has medicine. One might say, what does medicine? Why are we talking about medicine in a ninja game? Yeah, but as I said, Demon Ninja has its own lore. So this is not the pop culture ninja. No. In Demon Ninja, one of the main antagonists of everybody is this demon plague, because Demon Ninja can also be infected by this, right? And the thing is, you don't know who is a host just by looking at him. Right? You need to be skilled in medicine. Of course, feudal Japan's medicine, but the medicine that was developed to interpret symptoms, because the Japan where the players will roleplay is basically post-apocalyptic. But every time we talk about a post-apocalyptic, we always think about the future. Right. But the apocalypse could have happened in medieval times.
Right. Like Deadlands. So, Deadlands is like that. Has that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about a barren wasteland in Japan, right? We're talking about burning rice fields, abandoned villages, infested towns. Yeah. Entire geisha houses turn into geisha devils,
Right. It's a hell world.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you survive in this? Well, sometimes you don't. What happened is, as the demon plague spread, the part of Japan which was not yet infected, they ran away beyond rivers to create natural barriers and started, control posts on the roads and started trying to stop the advancement of the dark plague.
Right.
Okay. But the problem is this. There's a very big problem with this, because, okay, what's the problem with having hosts? Well, if you're, let's just say if your character is infected, it's a matter of time before you lose your character. Because once the tentacles developed enough to enter the cranium of your character, then you lose your mind. Then you have to deliver your character sheet to the game master and do a new one. Not because you died, but because you no longer have control over your character. And this happens to civilians and Demon Ninja alike. That's not different in any shape or form, unless you're from a specific specialty of commando special, because there's a commando specialty that is trained to deal with the situation. Okay, but aside from that, that's a single specialty. Aside from that, you're a target as is anybody else. So these hosts roam the land, right? But they're not. What we have to understand is they're not enemies. Okay, if you massacre these people, if you just try to kill the hosts, you gain darkness because you're massacring civilians.
Right.
They are civilian. They're sick.
They need help.
Yeah, they need help, but sometimes they don't accept that they need help.
Sure.
Okay, it's not that easy. It's not just saying, okay, you need help, just sit, I'll give you some medicine and that's it. No, because he has a monster growing on his guts. So there's no single pill that's going to take care of it. Yes, there are pills that numb him and numb the tentacles so that you can do surgery, quick surgery. It's like a quick surgery. It's a superficial cut in the belly. But you need to do it to basically, you need to pierce what they call the kisebutsu, which is the nest of tentacles under his skin, in his abdomen. You need to take care of that. That's a 20 minutes abdominal superficial incision. But he needs to be cooperative, and sometimes he's not. Sometimes he runs away. Sometimes he runs after your characters, begging for help. But remember, if he comes in within 10 feet, now you're subject to an attack from the tentacles. That's how the epidemic spreads. It's not because they're evil. It's essentially because some of them are conscious and some of them are not. Even when you get infected, you have to flip a coin to see if you're going to be in denial or if you're going to be conscious of your problem. You see? Yeah. So you need a lot of psychology, a lot of empathy, and a lot of medicine to deal with this situation. But there's even a bigger problem. What's the first thing that players do when they see hosts in the game? I'm talking about from, memories from playtesting and other situations. What they do is basically they draw a sword and attack him.
Right, right.
Because well, they're going to take darkness in the process, but at least they're removing
The
the
host.
danger.
Yeah, the tentacles,
Yeah.
the darkness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but actually they're not.
Yeah, they're not
Here's the
helping.
problem. No, because when the tentacles, one feature of this antagonist, this basic antagonist of the game, which is the host, you can't cut them. You can't cut his tentacles. If you do that, for each one you cut, two will spring forth.
It's like a Hydra.
Yes, every time you cut one of his tentacles, two will spring forth in place of it, right? So if you attack the host with cutting weapons with blades or something like that, then you're not really, you might kill the person, but you're not killing the parasite, and you're actually making him twice as powerful for each attack, each successful attack. So you're going to turn a host into what the Japanese at the time in the game called the makushu. A makushu is a host that was attacked by many people with stones, with blades, because people tried to get rid of him by their own means, and he grew more and more tentacles, and now he's an abomination, what they call the makushu, right? So that's not the solution. These hosts, when people wanted to dispose these hosts, they quickly learned that they had to do it either by fire or by poison or by some alternative means of disposing of the host. Fire, poison, or there's various ways to kill a host without cutting at him.
Do it the right way.
Yeah. But beginner level Demon Ninja game players, they obviously use their weapons immediately. Sure. Right?
Because they need to learn. Well, they need to. They need to learn how.
It's a game that brings its own details and its own lore, so it's normal that people just draw weapons and attack like in any other game, right? That's it. Right. But then as they become more experienced, they realize that we're not doing good here. This is not. Yeah, this is beneficial. This is a mess. And sometimes you don't meet just one host. You meet 30 hosts in a band, roaming the land for food and asking for help. So you see, these are very specific challenges. So what kind of fighting, what kind of way that commando ninjas developed to deal with this problem, right? Because they need to help these hosts, right? They need to subdue these hosts, but they can't kill them with weapons because that makes the situation worse. So they resorted to grappling. Right? What they did, yeah, because listen, if we can punch them to that, cut them to that, and stuff like that, then we need to put them to sleep and do surgery on them, and right,
restrain them. Yeah,
exactly. So you have a lot of grappling in the game.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's a perfect solution. You have to grapple, put a choke on them. Turn their computer off so that we can turn them face down, so we don't receive attacks, and let the remover do his job.
Right.
That's it.
Got to get close. Got to get close and take care of it. Yeah. No,
yeah, but when you're grappling with someone that has tentacles that are trying to enter your mouth, is a little bit different from normal sports grappling. It's different. So they have these commando ninjas are trained in an ancient skill of grappling against tentacles, which is called shikushu jutsu. Which the whole idea is, when you're grappling with a host, you need to bait out the tentacles. You need to offer an arm or offer something so the tentacles can wrap around, and then you can grapple and maneuver around and take his back. That's the whole art. Basically, summarize. I'm summarizing as much as I can.
No, that seems like a good way to go about it. You
need to. It's the art of baiting out an attack from tentacles, right?
Gotcha.
And sometimes you need the situations in the game become desperate and dramatic because the host is asking for apologize as he's trying to infect you because he doesn't control himself. He's he doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he doesn't know what the hell is happening to him. Right. You see?
Yeah.
For example, connecting with what I said before, once you effectively save a host and you do the incision and bleed out the nest of tentacles, once you do this, he's free. The tentacles die inside him. They all come out through his gut, through the incision, and he's free now. So you
Oof.
all enter Utari because it's a bloody scene. It's a bloody combat scene, and once it's over, sometimes every time the players enter Utari. Utari is this sense of you're basically covered in blood. It was horrific what just happened, but you succeeded, and now a
You lose
full blown
darkness.
at yeah, you erase
Yeah.
darkness because once you see the host smile and the happiness of a child in his eyes that he's back to his you ended
Former
into
self. Yeah.
himself. Yes, it's a very emotional situation even for a experienced commando. So you see,
Yeah.
that's a way to lose darkness. So
It's
it's
very
complex.
it's
It's
very
complex.
interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
I know it's complex. I will say this, it's obviously something you're very passionate about. You've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
If we break down the book, it's got original concept by you, created by you, designed by you. The artists are fantastic. I don't know where you got them from, but they're great.
Well, I couldn't have done anything of Demon Ninja, and I want to thank him. I don't know if he will watch this video, but even in any case, I would like to thank him again to
Oh
my
yeah.
dear friend, my dear friend David Benzal, which is the lead artist. I would never have the resources to do this except if it wasn't for him and his friendships. I thank you, David. Demon Ninja is pretty much you've played a great part here. He's the lead. He's the cover artist that you
Okay.
see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, no, no,
so
it's great art. I mean, that's one thing that's good about it. It's obvious that you didn't want to go. There's no AI art in it because I know
no,
people have problems with AI art and some people don't. And if you don't use AI art, then yes, it can be a struggle to try to find exactly the person that you
I could
want.
never
That's
have
why.
done this without him. Thank you,
Well,
David. I could
it
never
looks
have done.
it looks great, and I'm gonna kind of give like almost as if I'm doing like one of my normal like videos now,
Yeah.
and tell you kind of what I get from our interview that we've just had here, that we're having, and from what I read and my kind of thoughts about it. Um, so one thing I'll say is that it's obviously a big passion. It's a big labor of love. You've thought about a lot of stuff. It's very thorough. The English is good in it. I didn't see any typos. And I look for typos all the time.
I'm sure you'll find someone
Sure. Sure, there
somewhere.
probably will be, but nothing. It reads like a native speaker. So I don't. You've done well there. So I'm gonna kind of just give you like my, this is
Thank you.
what
Yeah.
my thing. The system is just for people, it's 3d6. You're gonna roll 3d6, you're gonna drop the lowest, and you're gonna add in your skills, and to try to beat a target number. That's pretty much the roundabout
Yeah.
view of the system. Easy system
Yeah.
for people to get into, so we got that going. The setting is completely fleshed out. That's one thing I enjoyed too. You talk about even like the wildlife and the urban areas and markets, and so the thing I've gathered for this is it's very thorough in what it's doing. It's not trying to be really brief in what it's saying. A lot of games now, and that's the thing is there's a balance now that's going on in role-playing games, it seems. There's games like this that are deep, character-driven, character-focused. You're making a really, come to life type character. And then there's a whole bunch of other games now because of the way that our lives are that are very kind of quick and fast. There's not much into them. Like with your character, you barely even give them a name, it seems, in a lot of games anymore. They just kind of go and they just, they murder hobos type stuff. So this to me harkens back to like White Wolf stuff, like I've talked about, like we've talked about. I do see the similarities in them. Um, and that's a good thing. In my opinion, it's a good thing because your system, your setting that you're doing, and the world that you're creating is the power of what this game's about. If you want to get into a deep, dark, uh, feudal Japan that is pretty much an apocalyptic feudal Japan with some moral choices you have to make for your character, some cool abilities, some cool clans, and look of your ninja. I applaud you for not doing the black monkey the suit ninja. You're making a unique character that has to grapple with all this stuff with a deep background story. To me, those are some of the strongest things of it. I love the art. Like I said, I love the art. Just scrolling through the PDF right here, and I'll be showing some pictures up on the screen for people to see. It's gonna be much like White Wolf. You're gonna pick the clan that you like. pick, the techniques that you're going to enjoy using. The balance between using darkness and not to use your abilities is good. There's a lot of uh I would say conflicting things like you've talked about with your friends. Oh, you're getting too much into the darkness. We've got to stop that. And I can see what it would be like to play this game, what your missions would be like. Maybe you're going and there's some sort of maybe a ruthless merchant or something who's terrorizing a town. Maybe the town he's not helping hosts, or he's doing something to grab power, because this is more than likely a place where warlords and stuff like that see the opportunity to abuse the power they have, the muscle they have. And this is an opportunity for you as a demon ninja to go and try to rid the world of the demons, to lower your darkness, and to hopefully help these people if that's your focus. And I also applaud the fact that you could also not be like that, much like the
Oh
Sabat
yeah.
from Vampire. You
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
you can be a bad person in this. You don't have to always be a paladin, pretty much,
No.
where you're going to go and save it. But it's really detailed. I don't. It's from what now. It's not. It's about 200 pages. I know the Kickstarter might do some different stuff from what I've seen, from what you've
Yeah.
shown me. And I'm excited to see. Hopefully, the first stretch goal of it getting a hardcover book, of course, would be great. The host thing is interesting because you kind of want to have a grunt character. Yeah, and in the way that you describe it, of course, about having to save them is interesting. In the fact that this isn't just like a plague of zombies that you can just wipe them out, but
No.
these are people, and so it gives a
Yeah.
dilemma. There's a dilemma almost in every
Yeah.
aspect of what you're doing, which I think is interesting. It doesn't kind of hand wave a lot of ninja stuff. It obviously is trying to be quite, um, I would say, uh, respectable to what we know about ninjas, feudal Japan, and stuff like that. Even though it's an alternate world, alternate version of Japan. And yeah, it's definitely not for it's for adult players, much like White Wolf
Yeah, yeah.
was back in the day. And that's going to be for a certain type of players. And that's not I don't see this game being this is like everybody's game.
No, no.
No, it's definitely not everybody's game, but the people that want to delve into it, they're going to get a lot out of it. Um, and the system seems easy that most people can pick up and play, which is good. I think uh, Vampire and White Wolf and stuff like that, it's fun to roll a bunch of those dice. It's a much more complex system, I think, than this, which is good nowadays. I liked it the fact that you say that there is no like quick start, because this is too deep. I mean, Vampire didn't have a quick start. This is too deep of a game
Yeah.
for something like that. Um, and overall, I think that if you like a deep story, deep characters, and um, a cool setting that's different than from what's out there. If you like ninjas and feudal Japan, and you've kind of dabbled in that before, and you like horror aspects, monsters, things that you can really create some interesting villain type characters that are Oni, that are doing whatever they're doing, terrorizing and just being overall terrible. It's going to be cool. And I think the strength of Vampire a lot of times is making your own cool character, and I think you can do that in this game in feudal Japan. Now, I don't know, all that I said. I hope that's kind of what your vibe is with the game. That I kind of, what do you think? Is that kind of what the game is
Yeah, no,
about?
that's perfect. That's yeah, that's I thank you for very kind words, and yeah, that sums the game up very well. It's pretty much that. I mean,
That's great.
yeah,
That's great.
it's a military game. Everybody that comes into the game has to be okay with that. You're
Right.
role playing military characters with
Right.
specific missions,
Right.
which have to be accomplished, but you have to try not to kill everybody in the way.
Yeah.
And the game, regarding the murder hobo version of characters, the game takes care of them by themselves very well because of the mechanism, the automatic mechanism of darkness. You can't resist it. Once you do
Right.
that, you get darkness, and that's it.
It's
So the game master doesn't have to do it. You're only going to do murder hobo 3 or 4 times before it's over.
Yeah, you gotta rethink maybe a lot of the stuff you're doing. But I think
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
want to delve into this, they'll pick up on that quickly. They want to make a cool
yeah,
character. I
yeah,
think they're gonna
yeah,
have a lot of fun with it. This is gonna be something for long-term campaigns, I would expect. It's a deep game, and you could play very short, probably a mission or two or so, or you
yep,
could have a
yep.
real, years-long campaign. So Um, so in wrapping up, I just want to let people know again that the Kickstarter is going on currently as of this video. Go check it out. There's some more information there, some more videos that have been done from some other YouTubers, and a lot more about the system that you can learn about. And it is going to be shipped from Europe. Is that correct for our US people?
Correct.
So
Absolutely, yes.
we're going to be on the other side for a change. It seems a lot of times
Yeah.
America makes, games and
Yeah.
then VAT and taxes and shipping gets bad. So just so that American people understand, it's going to go in the opposite way. But if I think this is going to be for a specific type of player and group, they're going to get a lot of fun out of it, and a lot of especially if they like Feudal Japan, a lot of being able because there's not a whole bunch of those games out there. This is not a very thin game. It's a deep, complex game with some real adult, you know, kind of threads going throughout it. And I really appreciate you showing up here, letting people know about it. So, in wrapping up, is there anything else you'd like to say about the game? Or, of
No, I just wanted to thank you for having me and
course,
taking the time to look through to take a look at the game. And thank everybody that was watching. Sorry for any mistake on my part. I'm trying my
no,
best
you're
with the
good.
English.
You're good. You're good.
And that's it. I hope if you can take a look at the Kickstarter, maybe you see something you like. It's already fully funded, but we're planning on expanding it, and we already have much cool surprises coming
That's
for
great.
Demon Ninja. Let's see what happens. Thank
That's
you all.
great. Yeah, I'm hoping it does well for you. So, thanks a lot, Pedro. I appreciate it. And everybody go check out that Kickstarter. All right. So, thanks a lot.
Thanks.